For many Christian wives, dementia brings a painful shift. Your husband, who has led your family faithfully for decades, now struggles to make daily decisions. And suddenly, you're carrying the responsibilities he once shouldered. That was Linda's story after 53 years of marriage. Her question was simple but heavy. How do I walk faithfully as a wife in this season and still honor the covenant the Lord gave us? Hey, Christian caregiver, welcome to Dementia Caregiver Support for Christians, the podcast where we talk about the real struggles of dementia caregiving so that you can find clarity, walk in peace, and steward this season faithfully before God. Because caregiving is not random. It is a calling to honor your loved one who is created in God's image. In today's episode, you will hear coaching with Linda, a wife wrestling with the role changes dementia has brought to a traditional Christian marriage. Together, we'll look at how to honor your husband's dignity, walk in biblical submission, and carry out the stewardship God entrusted to you as a wife. And before we begin, if you're looking for a place where you do not have to wrestle with these questions alone, I'd love to invite you into a private online community specifically for Christian family caregivers. It's not on Facebook, and it's only a one-time $97 lifetime membership. And inside this group, you'll find Christian encouragement, monthly opportunities to have some live coaching, and other believers walking this same road. You can join us through the link in the show notes. I'd love to see you inside. Now let us jump into our conversation with Linda. Hello, Miss Linda. How are you, sweet lady?
I'm good.
I'm very excited that you're here. I'm going to take you through the same process, right? If you look back 6 months from today, what needs to have happened for you to say, by God's grace, I've stewarded my caregiving health and my relationships well, that will make this easier for you?
I just wanted to say one of the things that you just spoke about with Leanne really hits me with where I am. I don't know exactly how to say this without making my husband sound like a bad guy. And he's not. But we are a very traditional family. He takes out the garbage and I do the dishes, if you know what I'm talking about. That's just how it is. We're very Southern, and we've walked with the Lord a long time, but that's a part of our Southern heritage. And it's extremely uncomfortable for me as I am walking into literally taking over everything he ever did. And he has spent his life investing in what he was doing for us. So I'm constantly, when I am telling him about something or he asks me a question, I'm saying, remember, we talked about this and this is what it is. And I'm trying, since you said to her, don't do that, what am I trying to do? And am I telling him or me that I've talked to him about it? And it's probably me, because I want to make sure he's comfortable. But the truth is, he is.
Mm-hmm.
He's not. He's just happy to know everything's going along. But it's so not him that there are times I feel like I need to. And
I understand. Linda, you are not the first spouse, particularly Christian spouse, who is struggling with this. Okay? Might I make a suggestion? Might I help you with this?
Of course.
Okay. So my husband and I are in a pretty traditional, non-traditional marriage, right? And what I mean by that is I've always kind of been the breadwinner, but he is definitely the head of the household, right? And when I work with very godly women, and I have actually spoken to many, many pastors now about this because I didn't know what a good answer was. Okay. About this, because what you're, in my words, this is my words, and you please correct me, is that you're struggling with how to submit to your husband because his thinking has changed and you are now needing to make decisions that he and you would have done together, and you're struggling with that tension, right? Is that accurate?
I would think yes.
Okay. A very good pastor friend of mine helped me with this. Okay. When your husband was in his right mind, before things changed, did you guys set up a healthcare power of attorney and a durable power of attorney for making decisions?
Yeah, we have all of that.
You have all of that. Your husband, when he was able to make these decisions, entrusted these decisions to you. And now you are submitting to his will for making those decisions for him based off of a 40, 50 plus year marriage, knowing his values, knowing his wants, needs, and desires, and knowing and understanding your husband. So what that should allow you is to know that you are honoring him by no stretch of the imagination. Am I saying that he is less valuable because he cannot make these decisions anymore? Because I believe he is just as valuable in God's eyes as he was when he could think. His value does not rely on his ability to think. His value is in that he was created in God's image. And because he was created in God's image, we are going to respect him. We are going to help him. We are going to do everything to maintain his dignity as a human, knowing and recognizing and understanding that because of actual, real physical changes to his brain, he has lost or is losing the ability to make certain decisions for himself. And how I would recommend and or encourage you to be with him is, if he is still at a place where he is able to make decisions between two things, boil it down to two things and ask his opinion and hear what he has to say. I wouldn't do an open-ended question and say, "What do you think?" Right? Because that's requiring me to pull the pieces in for myself. And if you have taken all of the pieces and you distill it down to, and I'm going to use a very simple example, right? Here's a red shirt and a blue shirt. Which one would you like to wear? Right? That's a decision that gives him the autonomy to make a decision between two things, right? So if it's a little harder decision and he isn't at that place where he can make those types of decisions anymore, then yes, it will be up to you. And he's empowered you to do that because you know him. And he has set you guys up for success, and he trusted you to make those decisions. Okay? So I hope that was encouraging to you, Linda.
Very much so.
Okay.
When this first started becoming apparent to me, we met with a financial planner because I was so worried about the money. I'm not going to have enough money and all this. And so what he suggested for us to do was wonderful, but I knew it was the exact opposite of what Richard would ever do. And I spent a week just being with the Lord and figuring it out to call this man who brought his whole team and sat down and I had to say, what? I can't do it because I know it's the exact opposite of what Richard would do.
Uh-huh.
He said, "Oh, but it's good." I said, "No, it's wonderful, but it's not for us." And I know that whatever I have is what the Lord's provided, and it is enough. It's
Mhm.
And I know this guy thinks I'm completely crazy. So I see him at church now, and it's like, okay. But I've been with Richard 53 years. I know. And he's not asking me. It's me making him know that, I, I just need to be able to, like you say, take it from his hand and know that the Lord's put it in my hand. And it's okay.
Yes. And Linda, you use a very, very good example. Your example was the perfect example because you knew that that wasn't something, even though other people thought it was good and right and wise, that it was contrary to what Richard would want. And you honored that. And you submitted to what you knew your husband would have done if he were still able to do that. And you should be extremely proud. I hate to use the word proud because I don't mean braggadocious proud, but you should be pleased with yourself that you showed humility, you took the time, you prayed about it, and you went back. And even though in worldly terms it looks like it was a bad decision, it was not a bad decision if it was in the will of the Lord, right? So what's one thing from our conversation today that you can take that will make your journey easier?
I'm really going to try to stop trying to justify in my conversation with Richard, just to answer his question, let him know everything is good, and thank God for it.
Yeah. And so, Linda, for you, maybe a good strategy to try is mirror his emotion. So if he is excited, and be excited with him. And if he is down or concerned, then mirror that emotion and then go to the next thing. So validate what he is feeling. Right. And then move to the next thing. Okay?
Yes.
Was that helpful, sweet lady?
Very helpful.
Well, I honestly hope you join the community. Once a month, there is going to be live question and answer opportunities. And it has a social feed. It has the ability for people to ask me questions there as well in the social feed. It kind of feels like Facebook, but it's not on Facebook. I want it off of Facebook, but I would love for you to join. Like I said, it's a one-time investment of $97 for lifetime access. Okay. People who are really benefiting from the community are the people who joined earlier on before they need it and that have been active and are participating in the community, because then they already know what questions to ask and they have a place to come, and they're not constantly wondering, what do I need to do? How do I need to do it? So people listening are interested in tapping into or learning about the community. I'd invite you to just go to the website, thinkdifferentdementia.com. There's a link for you to schedule a 20-minute call. There's no pressure. I'll serve you regardless of whether you join the community or not. But it is a way for you to take this relationship a little deeper, a little bit more hands-on support, because really the research also shows it's longitudinal support over time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure. I would highly recommend Lizette. She's awesome.
Tracy, I appreciate that endorsement.